Ukraine war update. Key verified changes you should know. Hello everyone, I am Elina, welcome back to my channel Enough of Propaganda. I am a former associate professor of several Russian universities, an economist and financier. I conducted an extensive research on Russian-Ukrainian War 2014-present and a lot of research on Russian-Ukrainian history. Now I am a Canadian writer and a traveler. Over the years, I verified a lot of information from Russia and Ukraine, and I'm always providing evidence to back up anything I say. So please don't just take my word for it. Feel free to fact check the information I provide. There are sources listed in the description to my videos or sometimes in the comments. In this video, I review the latest key verified changes based on independent investigative reporting, including sources such as The Insider and verified on the ground OSINT reports. Let's see what Russians thought about attacking Ukraine. The question is, how do you feel about Russian missiles striking residential buildings?
Бьют по жилым домам.
Честно тебе сказать?
Да.
Братан, мне похуй. Я поддерживаю своих солдат, чтобы они убивали украинцев.
Ракеты на Киев застыли, это СВО, сами просили.
Тебе нравится, когда Киев бомбят?
Киеву пиздец, как ни крути. Мне нравится, вот знаешь, что ракеткой по Львову. Вот так вот прям.
Россия не нападала на Украину, Россия защищает.
По мне, лучше сделать геноцид.
Вы считаете, что нужно делать геноцид украинского народа?
Я думаю, да.
Почему?
Мы в шоколаде, пацан, мы в шоколаде. Санкции, на санкции.
And now this is what happens in Russia. Of course, striking an apartment building is an accident, but Ukraine is really hitting the refineries. Tuapse, the city where I'm from, was under the fire, and several times get hit refinery, and then basically oil rained on Russian people in Tuapse. So was in Ryazan, one of the major refineries as well. And Simonyan was thinking they're gonna beat Ukraine in basically 2 days, day and a half, 2 days, and the city falls. That's what all the propaganda said. We will raise an eyebrow and Ukraine will understand everything. We will take Kyiv. Ukraine will never fight us. This war will last for only 3 or 4 days. I promised you that we will win. And that's the win. We won. Ukraine is hitting Russian positions in Teotkina. I don't think there is a point to show you the map, the whole map of Ukraine and deep state and talk about the front, because Russia can't gain anything. On the contrary, this is important update from Highway of Death. The land corridor between Russia and Crimea is now under control of Ukraine's armed forces. So they basically could shoot up to 60 kilometers and more and control the whole road. And this is what happens there. Russia can't transport their goods freely anymore. This is oil fuel trucks got attacked by drones, by Ukrainian drones on the way to Crimea. Putin's mighty army! This is Russia's offensive on Malaya Takmachka town, very tiny town. It has surpassed greatest historical sieges, 1,500 days. That's quite a history. It's a tiny village in Zaporizhia region. Before the full-scale invasion, according to Roman Sheremetyev, its population was only 200 people. What a mighty army. Putin proved himself to be weak. He even had to ask Zelensky permission to have a parade on the Red Square. And only because of Trump asked, it happened without Ukraine attacking Moscow. And yet, despite that, Ukraine did not attack Moscow parade and Putin's celebration of his fascism. Ukraine get hit and Kyiv get hit, and that's all these people died in Ukraine and get attacked anyway. This is important development for Ukraine. This is first Ukrainian guided aerial bomb. It's not a Soviet, it's not Western, it's Ukrainian, made and developed by Ukrainians. Another good news, Ukrainian warriors liberated Otradnoye. One of the important things what happened recently was Russian forces launched record 1,400 drones at Ukraine over 24 hours. This was from May 13th to May 14th, 2026. And Basically, despite the fact that Ukrainian forces shot down a lot of it, 1,362, still at least 50 drone strikes were recorded, along with falling debris that downed UAVs in 44 locations. As you know, the horrible thing happened in Kyiv, for example, when a chunk of the building collapsed, 9-story building. Unfortunately, even 41 missiles were shot down, but 15 missiles hit their targets. Death toll from Russian strike on Kyiv rises to 24, including 3 children, as rescuers complete search at apartment building. I reported on this in my previous video, and you can see that people trying to save wounded people from under the debris, but unfortunately, as I said, 24 people dead. A rescue operation lasted about 28 hours, and this picture would be very famous forever, with that fridge and a bottle of champagne. Still, bottle of champagne in the fridge, some food and a notepad and so on. But as the owner of the channel who reposted it pointed out correctly, people are gone, children are gone, people killed by Russia in Ukraine, their life is broken. This is how it looks like. Meanwhile, Russia doesn't even bother to hide its war crimes. This is Kherson. They openly post footage of night strikes on parked civilian cars, treating ordinary people like targets. Target practice. Attack on Dnipro, May 17th. This is what Russia is hitting. On May 17th, 2026. President Zelensky calls the largest attack on Moscow and Moscow region justified, urges an end to the war. This is true. This attack, completely justified, unfortunately for me being from Russia, but luckily for me, Ukraine does not attack civilians in Russia, not on purpose. The only thing I can remember perhaps was the one strike on Belgorod. In 12 years, over 12 years of war. That might have been deliberate, I don't know. Most of the time, Ukraine attack military targets, valid military targets. Unlike Russia, Russia commits war crimes every single day in Ukraine. And the fact of attack in Kyiv, this is one of the examples. The death toll still happens in Russia. Most likely, most often, it's because either Russian missiles from the air defense fall onto the apartment buildings, and I'll show you one today. And often it's a debris, or often when the drone, Russian air defense kind of make it go, of course, hit the apartment building. In this case, at least 3 people were killed and more than 10 injured in the drone attack, as far as we know. Nothing true out of Russia. It's really hard to get the information from there, even for me, which I know people there. But they're afraid to tell the truth, they're afraid to publish anything, because as we will talk about it today, there are laws preventing Russians from posting videos and from talking about it even. Apartment buildings, private homes and businesses were damaged, including the Solnechnogorsk fuel station, and fires also broke out at Moscow oil refinery and Sheremetyevo airport. Russian Defense Ministry said that they intercepted more than 550 drones all over Moscow and Moscow region and a whole bunch of other regions, including occupied Crimea. And this is how Russian air defense is hitting residential places instead of Ukrainian drones. There it is. And they are speaking in the video, where did it fall? This document is from City of Moscow, which is talking about penalties for people if they report on attacks and publish photo and video about Ukrainian drones attacking Moscow. Well, if it's not reported, it's not happening. In Moscow, most defended area by air defense. And despite that, sanctions from Ukraine flew to Zelenograd, Kapotnya, Solnechnogorsk, Khimki, Mytishi, Sheremetyevo. These are the consequences of Ukraine drone attack on Solnechnogorsk pumping station. This is drone kamikaze flying into Russian plant Angstrem, which is producing chips to the military. Keep in mind that on those videos you can't see the sirens or alarms for Russian people. So government is trying to hide it from people. They don't even sending them messages on text messages to warn people. Many places like in Moscow, for example, no bomb shelters, no anywhere for people to hide. In this video you can hear the siren. The fire in Moscow. And this is May 17th. It's a key transport artery, this road. And not only fire on the construction material warehouse, but the whole section of the road is collapsing. This is Durykina, Kapotnya oil plant is burning. Kremlin propagandists are claiming that biggest attack of Ukrainian drones on Moscow is just a useless thing, it doesn't mean anything, and they basically, according to the current time and so on, trying to underplay and undermine what happened. Federal's media just giving very little attention to this. But they are trying to tell Russians how wonderful is Russian air defense is working. We just saw the footage, how wonderful it's working. Moscow is claiming that they are responding to something, but Russia is bombing Ukrainian cities since 2022. From the beginning of 2025, at least 815 peaceful civilians in Ukraine were killed by Russia. Meanwhile, Russia is talking about revenge on Russian side. There is no revenge. Russia started this war in 2014 and it was ongoing ever since. Russia started full-scale invasion in 2022 and keep attacking Ukraine and killing Ukrainians every single day. Putin's war is going so badly that Russia considers legalizing marriage with teenagers. So the 14-year-old started to produce children, for Putin can kill them in his wars. Currently, individuals in Russia are permitted to marry from the age of 18. From age 16, this is possible in case involving compelling reasons. But they decided, let's go to Middle Ages. Let's permit 14-year-old to marry. Superpower at work. This is Kamchatka. This is a mother taking her child to kindergarten every day. This is how Russia looks like. This is a poop fountain in Moscow. What a fantastic place. Even Russian Z-bloggers now whining about Putin and thinking about replacing him. Somebody even mentioned Sergei Kiriyenko, which I told you about in the videos about Russian disinformation campaigns. And yeah, he's behind all the Russian disinformation campaigns, and there is a video about, a couple of videos on Zelensky massive disinformation campaign, which was happened towards Ukraine, attacks on Ukraine, on United States and some other countries. But I think it's just a hoax or some sort of undercarpet games. Somebody tried to get rid of Kiriyenko by the hands of Putin. More attacks on Russia. These are all valid military targets. Most of what I show, almost everything except for that apartment building, which is probably Russians just knocked down the drone from its way. And they say how much they love Putin. Who is the best president in the world? Of course, Putin. Yeah, they sure enjoying it. Yeah. Putin is a legend. Krasavchik, as they say, beautiful man. Well, I don't enjoy it. Apparently some Russians probably enjoy it. This is what Putin brought to Russia after 26-something years in power. Wouldn't you like that happen to your country? Over 20,000 arrests for saying no to war in Russia. This is Russia that some in the West celebrates, I wouldn't say many, but according to the author of the channel, many, in the West celebrates as the ideal model and defender of freedom and traditional values, a beacon of civilization that silences dissent with prison. Congratulations on the model. On the bright side, Euroclear transfers 6.6 billion to Ukraine from proceeds of frozen Russian assets. As well as Hungary released, after the election, stolen Ukrainian goods, gold and money and so on. Canada provided support and millions of dollars to Ukraine. And several other countries doing the same thing to help Ukraine to win this war. And I hope everybody soon will really clarify their goals. And the goal is for Ukraine to win and Putin's regime to be defeated and Ukraine territory fully liberated. This is from channel Our Canada. Conditions for ending the war. Russia's capitulation, tribunal over Putin, Medvedev, Lavrov and other war criminals, renunciation of nuclear weapons, payment of reparations, complete demilitarization of the sanitary zone, including Bryansk, Kursk, Belgorod, Voronezh region, Rostov region, and Krasnodar Krai. And in the comments, there are additions which I agree with. So need to implement structure of federalism, as an example, like United States and Germany, and illustrations of change all the judges, policemen, and any bureaucrats, and so on. Complete illustrations, confiscations, all of their assets and their family assets. And also punished those who fought and supported war. Change the law. For people who denying Russian war crimes and that Russia is an aggressor, there should be a long time in prison with confiscation of their property and assets. Change the history textbooks and destroy all the institutes and universities who were involved in changing history and falsifying history and supporting the war in Ukraine. I would also add that all the Putin's assets from abroad should be punished as well. By assets, I mean foreign politicians who supported Putin and helped him to spew his propaganda and destroy their countries because they get bribed with Putin and so on. Despite the fact that the Insider, one of the most famous and most trustworthy investigative journalists, I still verify stuff by myself. And just because I provide you one article, it doesn't mean I did not check many of them and confirm this article, what it says. Unlike many on YouTube, I proved who I am and where I am from. And there is a whole playlist about me if you're interested. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share my videos, and help YouTube algorithm to show it to more people. Write comments, that helps too. Unfortunately, Russian trolls showed up from the very beginning when I created my channel, and really trying to destroy me and my information just because Russian government doesn't want the truth to be heard, and trying to put people in jail just for speaking the truth. This is why I can't go back to Russia to visit my family, and I'm fighting Putin's regime as much as I can as a private person who doesn't belong to any organizations. I tell the truth. Help me to spread it.